So, at the start of this year, I decided to treat myself to an acoustic bass. Specifically, this one. This is a Sigma BMC 15E. Catchy. This isn't a review, but it's great. You know, if you came here wanting to know if this was a decent acoustic bass, as far as I can tell, it's good. It looks the part. It's got really good electronics. It's got a built-in tuner. And it's cool, you know. What more do you want from me? So I'm a big fan. I'm a big fan of this bass. But the thing that I want to talk to you about today is about strings. So obviously this came with strings on. It'd be a bit weird if you bought a stringed instrument and it didn't have strings attached to it. Now the strings that this came fitted with are these, as you can see, these fairly standard phosphor bronze jobbies. They're exactly what you would expect to be on something like this. They're round wound. They've got that lovely, slightly kind of, I don't know, kind of like orangey, well, bronzy. Yeah, the clues in the name will. They look how you would expect an acoustic bass set of strings to look, and they sound pretty much how you'd expect as well. Yeah, they've got quite a sort of a bright, woody tone. The other main reason why this bass came with these strings on, and why basically any acoustic bass that you might buy would have very similar strings on, is actually because acoustic basses are really actually quite quiet instruments. If you've ever seen a double bass, you know, they're massive, and the reason they're massive is because if you want to make a loud, low note, then you need something big, basically. And these strings go some way to kind of mitigate that and compensate for the fact that it's actually quite a quiet instrument, because it's, all things considered, it's pretty small. So they've deliberately chosen these metal round wound strings to brighten up and add a lot of treble and therefore volume to the tone that this bass naturally just acoustically makes. So it's, you know, it sounds bright and loud and kind of crispy. And my original idea was just to leave these strings on forever, basically, and just have it mellow out over time. As you can see, I've even got a, what do you call it? I don't even know what this thing's called, like a little muty thing. You can put it around there. I've tried it around there. It sounds weird. It sounds really cool, but yeah, not for kind of everyday use, you know. It's also really difficult to get on and off down there. There you go. So, but down at this end, it has a bit more of a subtle effect, and the idea was just to have it kind of just muffle the strings a little bit. So it's, as opposed to being, it doesn't make much of a difference. So that was the idea, just to have these strings get older and deader and probably mouldier as time went on. But it's become apparent that, particularly through a bunch of the live shows that I've done, that actually these strings really aren't right. And it even comes down to the way this is set up, and I love the way this thing's set up. You know, it's, you know, the action is really nice and low, super easy to play. You know, the strings are really, you know, there's not much sort of perceived tension in there. They're really compliant. I don't want to mess around with that, but it does, as you've probably heard, create quite a lot of sort of buzz. And it's not like fret buzz, it's just a crunchy sound. And it also isn't very forgiving when it comes to fingerpicking velocity. You know, it's very easy to go from to just, if on an electric bass it's a bit more forgiving. I think this is where everyone in the world tells me I'm wrong about that. But this particularly isn't very forgiving. I'm still relatively new to bass, so I just want something a bit, you know, a bit easier, you know? So that's not to say that there's anything wrong at all with the strings that this came packaged with. These are perfectly serviceable strings. They do sound really quite good when you really, really nail it. They're really nice and bright. They are loud, and they, you know, they sound like an acoustic bass should. They're not quite, potentially not quite right for me. So last time I was down at Denmark Street in London, one of my favourite places in the whole world, popped into One Joe Bass, and they did me an excellent deal on this set of D'Addario tape wound strings. So they were really, really helpful there, and they helped me make the decision between whether it was a case of needing a different gauge of round wound strings, like phosphor bronze ones, or if maybe I should go for some flat wound steel strings, which we'll talk about another time. But ultimately, we decided to go for these nylon tape wounds. These are nice medium gauge. They should feel more or less the same in terms of sort of perceived tension as these ones. And in theory, they'll be quieter, but these should sound a bit more, sort of a bit smoother and a bit deader, the way that I would like this to ultimately sound. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to play a groove on this so you can hear exactly what this sounds like with these phosphor bronze strings on. I'm going to go and change them, and then we'll come back and I'll play the same groove with these on, and we'll see what the difference is. You know, this could be awful. I genuinely have no idea. And we are back with mixed results, annoyingly. Strings are themselves absolutely fine. They are silky smooth. There is absolutely no, I don't know if you can see. So on the round wound strings before, they're obviously very bumpy because they're literally a tube wrapped around a tube. These are just smooth. So it's basically like playing, like playing flat wounds or a fretless. It's just smooth, and they're super easy to play. The issue is that obviously it turns out that these strings are a slightly different gauge to the other ones, and there's now a whole load of fret buzz. Which is really annoying. So I'm going to have to get this entire bass set up again. So I think I'll have to make a part 2, basically. But the good news is that these aren't actually that much quieter, which is something I was expecting them to be. They look wicked, and once this bass is properly set up with them, it's going to be really fun. Ultimately, quite disappointing results, but thankfully not because of the strings themselves. The strings feel really good. So yeah, I guess we'll finish this off in part 2 in a few weeks' time once I got this properly sorted out. I think next time I'll probably show you a couple of my electric basses as well. If you had a good time watching this, please do feel free to leave a like. I'm told that it helps somehow with the algorithms and all that type of stuff. And if you're new here, please do subscribe. I'm going to be doing more of this. And if you don't subscribe, you'll never know what this sounds like once it's actually been set up. So there you go, there's an incentive for you. Leave me a comment, let me know what else you would like to see. I've got plenty of other guitars sat just out of frame that I'd love to talk about. So let me know in the comments what else you would like to see me play or talk about, and we'll get to that. But otherwise, I will catch you next Wednesday. Cheers, guys.